All right. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead and call the January 28th Board of Commissioner meeting to order. We do have a surprise, but we're going to have our opening prayer first. And first, we'd like to introduce Pastor Daniel Scherer from Central Christian Church for our opening prayer.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we do acknowledge your goodness today, your blessings, and all that this day brings. We also acknowledge we pray for serenity, to accept things that we cannot change. We also pray for courage to change things we can. We pray that you would open our eyes and our ears to know the right decisions, even if they are not convenient. Help us to serve the greater good, and give us the wisdom for all that this day brings, and just allow us to sense your presence here and your purpose and your priorities. So we pray all this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. All right, we'll go and turn it over to Judge Smith. We have a resolution regarding a retirement from Miss Connie Engelhardt, who has served 36 years to Daviess County. So, and she's worked for judges for 36 years, so God bless her.
And I know some of you are probably trying to do the math that she's been working 36 years, and she tells everybody she's 39. So it is true, I hired her when she was 3. She was an exceptional student. But commissioners are kind enough to do this, Connie, so I'm going to read this into the record. So is that good?
Please.
All right, this is a resolution of the Daviess County Commissioners honoring the retirement and 36 years of service of Mrs. Connie S. Engelhardt. Whereas Connie S. Engelhardt has announced her retirement from the position of Chief Court Reporter of the Daviess County Circuit Court after 36 years of with Daviess County, Indiana. And whereas Connie S. Engelhardt began her services to Daviess County on June 13th, 1988 as an administrative assistant in the Office of the Prosecuting Attorney for Daviess County, Indiana. And whereas Connie S. Engelhardt has, throughout her career, demonstrated her dedication with professionalism, earning the respect and admiration of judges, attorneys, officials, co-workers, and colleagues. And whereas Connie S. Engelhardt began as an administrative assistant for then prosecuting attorney Gregory A. Smith, and then served as a deputy clerk of the courts of the Daviess Circuit and Superior Courts, and as court reporter for Judge Gregory A. Smith. And whereas Connie S. Engelhardt's 36 years of commitment, dedication, and professionalism has been a rare and continuous benefit to the bench and bar and to the citizens of Daviess County, Indiana. And whereas we, the Board of Commissioners of Daviess County, Indiana, wish to recognize Connie S. Engelhardt for her dedication and excellent service to the court system and the citizens of Daviess County, and do hereby express appreciation and gratitude for her work, her professionalism, and her dedication in 36 years of service. Whereas we, the undersigned commissioners, do hereby resolve it to be an honor to adopt this resolution honoring Connie S. Engelhardt on behalf of the commissioners of Daviess County, Indiana, with sincere congratulations on this occasion of her retirement from the Circuit Court of Daviess County, Indiana, and do hereby express deep gratitude and appreciation for her services. Wish her a long and happy and healthy retirement. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the undersigned Board of Commissioners of Daviess County, Indiana, adopt this resolution unanimously and direct that this resolution honoring the retirement and 36 years of service of Connie S. Engelhardt be recorded by the Secretary in the Permanent Records and Minutes of the Daviess County Commissioners and signed by Mr. Gabhart, Mr. Cook, and Mr. Heath.
And I was told I was coming for an exit interview. Who would have thought when I answered an ad in a newspaper 36 years ago that I would be retiring from the county today? But it's been an awesome ride. I'm thankful for Judge for initially hiring me in the prosecutor's office, giving me that chance. And then I worked for 3 wonderful ladies who were clerks of the court, Rosemary Abel, Doris Money, and Sherry Healy. And then when there was a new position open up in the court for an additional court reporter, judge asked me if I would fill that, and that's where I currently am. And I've had the chance and the honor to work also with Tanya Hosford, the referee, as her court reporter. And I've shared life with many, many coworkers, and most of those, or all of them actually, will probably be lifetime friendships. I thank my family, my husband Brian, and my mom is here today. They've always been supportive of me working for the county, and my grown children, they always knew where I was, and if I wasn't at home, I was going to be found at the courthouse. And they knew that on their speed dial. Thank you for the county. My plans are to play a lot of golf and to try to take up yoga, stay fit, and spend every Thursday with my mom. So thank you again, Daviess County.
Thank you, Connie, and congratulations. And whenever I walk in and see those unfamiliar faces, it usually means I'm going to get yelled at. So it was nice that we had a friendly audience.
Did we already sign? No, we have to sign it, I think. Thank you, Connie.
Congratulations, Connie.
Thanks. Thank you so much. Yes.
Just do the same one. Here, we're ahead of you. Okay, Is it different? Looks different.
It's all right, I can use this one.
Okay.
Okay, great. No other retirements? We're good. Good. All right, next up, got courthouse renovation update. Just a brief update I've shared with via email with some folks. The open date for the courthouse has been set for June the 7th. That's contingent on the electrical components arriving April 7th. And so assuming that they arrive April 7th, then the dominoes will fall from there. So looking at a open date in June, and then obviously the transition will start there in May, moving offices over. So still TBD. The April 7th is really the rate limiting step. So, commissioners, any questions on the courthouse?
No, that's, be glad when it gets open.
Yeah. Yep. It's been a long necessary process, but we're still on budget and still basically on time. So we'll keep pushing it. All right, the meeting minutes from January 14th. Were there any questions or revisions?
They all look good.
If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
A motion made by Commissioner Keith. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Okay, next up, got the Highway Department. Chris, good morning.
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 Guess we're open to bids first.
Fine. Looks like we've got 3 bids. Who else here for bids?
Should have 3, yeah. CalCar, Milestone, and EMB.
Okay, first one is CalCar.
There should be a total page. Okay. So it's $1,792,000, I said it wrong, didn't I? $29.54 was their bid for the PCMG 2024-2.
Could you read that again, Chris?
Yeah, $1,792,029.54.
And on CCMG, so this is for the Highway 50 overlay and
Yeah, in
Road.
Edwardsport Road
Yeah.
and 500 north.
Edwardsport, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the only one.
Yeah, the only amount.
Sometimes when here a really long time, but we've only got 3 bids. So. But that's good. I mean, right?
Yeah, for this project, it's good.
This is Milestone. Milestone's here.
It's $1,686,787.10.
Right there. And E and B.
So it's $1,492,650.01. That's EMB.
Typically, we would take these all under advisement, make sure that we have the requisite documents in place, and award to the lowest responsible and responsive bidder.
So what number were we shooting for, Chris? Do you remember?
My estimate, my engineer estimate was about $2 million, so all the bids came in under estimate, which is good.
Great, okay. Okay, so I'd entertain a motion to take the bids under advisement, and then Chris will then provide his recommendation back to the commissioners for approval.
So moved.
A motion made by Commissioner Cook, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Keith, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 3-0. Thank you, everyone, for submitting a bid, appreciate that. Next up, we've got the West Street interlocal agreement.
So I guess the next thing's the West Street interlocal agreement. You guys got a copy in there to be signed. And that's to start submitting payment to them for their project. It's basically a continuation of the Kennelberg Road through the town of Odin to the Highway 358 or 58. I think it's just 58 there. Widen that intersection with the state. The town's gonna widen their portion of 900 East to get truck traffic in. So we've been working on this for about a year, trying to get this, just to get the interlocal agreement made and signed so we can start issuing them money from, I think your guys', maybe not you two, but your guys' previous commitment as a Board of Commissioners and the council of up to $750,000. I think we're committed to paying 50% of their 20% match up to the $750,000. So if you guys are in agreement with it, we sign that, and then
Yeah.
I think I've got invoices from them. So Odin is gonna send me their invoices, and our department is gonna go through them invoices and make sure they're accurate and keep documentation records on it, and then we'll send them to the auditor's office with what they're supposed to pay to the town of Odin, and then they'll process the payment to them. But
Okay.
we're just kind of gonna manage the.
Yeah. No, that's great, and the town of Odin, they are the point person on this project.
Yes, it's their
Um,
project.
And then we will, just to make sure we're clear here, we'll pay 50% of each invoice,
Yes.
up to $750,000.
Yeah, so it's just like, they've got a grant for it, so they've got to pay 20% of their grant, and we agreed to pay 50% of their 20% match.
So if we get if they get a $50,000 invoice, they pay 25 and we pay 25.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just want to make sure they knew we're not paying the first 750,
correct.
and then it goes to them, so.
Yeah, because later on, when it gets closer to that project being built, they're gonna have bigger payments, and
Yeah,
we paid them all now, I think they'd run out of money.
Who's going to be your go-to person at Odin? Who's,
Well, we've been working with Mandy Wills and then Susie Roach is the two, and I think they worked with, yesterday, I think Sherry, my office manager, Sherry Donaldson, she worked with, I think it was BJ Sanders yesterday to get the signatures done. So she's kind of the one that oversees the billing and and then she's gonna submit it to the auditor's office. I think right now we got about $22,000 that we can pay them for their project. And it's been dated back for at least a year now that we've been holding on to them. We haven't been issuing any money to them until they
Yeah.
sign the interlocal agreement and submit the documents.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions?
I'd say as long as he has a good point person, he's not fully 100% hands-on on everything, right? So you got a
Right.
point person, I think it's a good.
Yeah. Indeed. Okay, if there's no other discussion, I'd entertain a motion to approve the interlocal agreement.
So moved.
A motion made by Commissioner Keith. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0.
And the next thing on your guys' list is, I think you have them in your packet too, the contract for B-Wise Consulting. They help do our environmental compliance stuff. I think last year it was $4,050. This year it's like $4,100. So it did raise by about $50. And we do about half of that environmental compliance ourselves. It's our water sampling for any runoff water on our facility, and since we have an asphalt plant, then it's our air pollution and monitoring that we have to do. So that is a needed service to be outsourced from her. Or I said her, it is a lady. She takes care of it for us. We do a lot of it, and she kind of compiles it all together.
So,
So, I mean, I would choose to continue services with her, just,
continue the service.
yeah, signing the yearly, I have her give us a yearly contract is what I do.
Okay. Sounds good. Any questions, commissioners?
No, if you think, I mean, if you like the product or whatever, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah,
So it's-
she does a really good job helping us out.
All right, great. Good. If there's no other questions, I'd entertain a motion to approve the environmental compliance agreement.
So moved.
A motion made by Commissioner Cook. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Keith. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. It's a single signature.
If you don't mind, Chris, would you also do a contract cover sheet for that? Would you be willing to
Okay,
do that?
I can do that. I think I might have done that before.
Yeah.
I forgot. Yes,
No
I'll
problem.
do it.
It just helps, especially the new guys know exactly what it's for, the amount. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, yep, I can do that. I should have had that done, so. Then I've got, this is not on the list here, but before the project updates, I guess it could be, we can wrap it into project updates. It's a LPA invoice voucher for preliminary engineering on the intersection improvements at roundabout Old US 50. That's a 90-10. So the federal government's paying 90% of it, we're paying 10%, and it's just for a reimbursement of $182.25. It's a LPA voucher like I brought last. So it's the money that we paid towards that. It's a refund is basically what we're getting.
Okay. Any questions, commissioners? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the LPA claim voucher in the amount of $202.50 with 90% reimbursable.
So moved.
A motion made by Commissioner Keith. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
A motion passes 3-0.
Yeah, I got a couple notes. I got notes for two different meetings, so hopefully I don't mess it up. But we got a speed study from the Sheriff's Department the other day for Montgomery Road and 800 North, which was requested by the Amish Safety Committee that when we had that meeting. So they finally got all them done, and it's like we said, it's a little bit of a tedious task for them guys to sit out there and get 3 speed studies, I think it is, for for each section of road, and they gotta be different times and so long, you know, and I guess they're sitting out there and somebody calls and they've gotta leave. They can't just sit there and do a speed study, but the sheriff's department did get that done for us. LTAP's got a kind of a new thing where we might be able to plug the information in and come up with our own speed limits. So we're in the process of doing that right now. I took that information, sent it in, and started plugging it into the computer system that they got. So we'll get the recommended speed if it changes from, I think it's at 55 right now, because none of them are posted. So we'll see if that changes. I'll let you know.
And while you're at it, could you explain briefly why 650 East is 55 and Corning, or 900 East is 45?
It's for the diversity of traffic. Because when you look at 900 East, the Cannonburg Road with the buggy trails on it and everything, everybody's like, why is that 45, but the Montgomery Road, 650 East is 55? Because the Cannonburg Road, the 900 East, it's wider, it's flatter, it's longer. So it looks like you could go faster on it, but it's for the diversity of traffic as far as buggy traffic, you know, horse-drawn traffic, cars, semis, a lot of truck traffic from the industrial facilities up there, and the concrete trucks and the Graver Post trucks. And it was a safety issue, so we got a safety grant for it, 9010, which we basically got $38 million from the federal government to do this project, and we did it based on safety, so we can't do the project, collect that money from them, and decide that we can go 70 miles an hour on that road, because that's not what it was intended for. So it's basically the diversity of traffic is why the speed limit's set. It's not set because of the road conditions themselves.
Okay, thank you.
So after the safety committee requested the 650 East, there's a lot of buggy traffic on it. As you guys know, the Amish population keeps growing. So one of the next things I have on my list is to bring up to you guys. We've kind of briefly talked about it, but maybe do a buggy paths on the Montgomery Road. From Montgomery to, you know, it's not 100% planned out, to maybe 1,000 north. And then from Montgomery Road, which is 650 East, to 900 East on 550 North, which is the road K&K's on, and 800 North, which is the road basically JJ's Concrete is on, connecting that. So right now, if you get a heat map, it shows where the most accidents occur in our county. It's the Montgomery Road. So, you know, the populations grew, there's more buggies on there, and that's where we're having the most accidents in our county, is on Montgomery Road. So to be able to start that process, nobody has to give an answer, but if it's something that we want to look into, federal funds are always there to do these safety projects. I think the Cannonburg Road was a success. I believe it started in 2014. It wasn't cheap, but overall for the county, it was. I think we had $8 million in it. It replaced 2 bridges on that, along with, you know, upgrading the corridor. I would probably suggest that the Montgomery Road, if we did it with buggy paths, we probably wouldn't do it like the Cannonburg Road. It'd maybe be a hybrid. Maybe we keep the blacktop surface. We got a 20-foot road in it. It's nice. The Cannonburg Road was shot. It was barely 20 foot in different places, so that's why they replaced it and put a concrete road. But I would think that we look at what the cost is to put paved shoulders on the Montgomery Road and then cross it over to 900. To be able to do that, you need a feasibility study. I have had some preliminary discussions with consultants about a feasibility study that would give you the exact cost of what it's going to take. It's not cheap. It's $20,000 to do that, and then that's where you come up with all your pricing, what it consists of, what grants are available to do that. So this wouldn't be a project that we would say, well, let's pay $20,000 to proceed that way, and then when they give us the information, say, no, we're not interested, because that would be a waste of money towards the project. So it's something you guys can think about, and we can talk about if it's something that you think, not saying 100% we could do it, but if you're interested in it, if the county's interested in as a whole and the council, then maybe that's something we proceed.
Yeah, no, appreciate that, Chris, and appreciate your willingness to take on these projects, because it's obviously very extensive. Perhaps what we can do is have some sort of town hall meeting out in that area. Just ask the local residents what they think. We are going to be taking away some of their land by doing this, and get their feedback. Maybe we have a town hall meeting, or maybe we just take one of our commissioner meetings, because we usually go on the road twice a year. Maybe we just take a meeting in the next 3 months, make it an evening meeting out in that area, and just get their feedback and kind of get their pulse.
And that's why that's why it would be we'd want to apply for a federal grant, because it would consist of, like you said, we'd have to be buying right away in the county. When we're upgrading our roads, we don't buy right away. But to be able to upgrade them that much and put paved shoulders on both sides of the road at probably 8-foot paved shoulders, we would have to purchase right away, and we wouldn't be able to do that without federal funding to do that. Yeah, it's just something we did, we're still pursuing bridges and roads and CCMG grants and paving grants and bridge rehabilitations and roundabouts and everything else, but that's something that I thought when we got the Cannelberg Road done, where are we gonna go if the money's out there and the grants are out there, and it's a lot of it's safety driven, then why not? What's our next big project that we can proceed with?
Jen, do we have any meeting dates set for on the road meetings? Okay. I mean, and this isn't anything we have to do like quickly, but
Right.
May-ish?
What about the next highway meeting? We'll kind of set something that'll work for everybody.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll, because we usually go like in April and October, we go north and we go south, space it out. So, yeah, we'll get firmer dates at our next highway meeting, and plan on having it, the produce patch or.
No. You messed that
You
up
might-
last time.
Might do a cost off on that one, yeah.
Might do Goshtoff, or even, there's a new event center that's right close to the Cannelberg Road,
Not the
700,
produce
right?
patch. Remember that was
There's one,
the main.
yeah, the Parsons
It was
Center
supposed to
was
be an
700
auction
east,
place.
400 north.
Is that right?
Goshtoff or Parsons would be.
That's a good thing about being, okay, perfect. We'll discuss our highway meeting, be in touch, but we'll plan on having a on-site meeting somewhere so the constituents can come and share their opinions. Great, thanks, Chris. What else we got?
A couple other quick things. I know we got a sign request in Painted Acres for dead end and no truck. If anybody's got any calls about that, we're working on it with keep having semis going down Painted Acres, which is north of 58. It's a dead end road. And they're getting stuck, and it's very global, but we've already got a sign that says dead end. You know, I can't put a sign up that says obey the sign. So if you guys are getting calls about that, we are working on it. Both trucks that we went out there with, the drivers don't speak English, so I don't know if the additional signage about obeying the one sign's gonna help. And we talked to Barry Global, I think Keith Bechtel. He said that he's in charge of logistics, and he was gonna reach out to his suppliers and kind of let them know what's going on and make sure the addresses are correct, because the Painted Acres is not nowhere close to where Barry Global is.
Yeah, and it seems like traffic violations are the universal language too, if we need to
Get a sign.
reach across.
And I don't want to be against signs, but if you guys knew how many sign requests I get on a daily basis, if we signed every request we had, our roadsides would look like picket fences. And it wouldn't help. Yeah, people get numb to the signs. So, another update on Bridge 95 project. We applied for a federal bridge rehabilitation grant on that. I think the commissioners were there. We did a presentation for them. The cost is $2.8 million. 20% of that would be on the county. The LPA match is $562,000. NDOT wanted us to do a life cycle analysis on it because the piers are 63 years old. And I think for you guys that was at the meeting, when we applied for the grant, your substructure has to be a 3 to be able to qualify. It has to be a 3 rating to be able to qualify for a full bridge replacement. Our superstructure, I think, was a 5, and our substructure was a 6. So we didn't qualify for a full replacement. So that's why we went ahead for the rehabilitation for it. But during the meeting, one of the NDOT ladies brought up about doing a life cycle cost analysis and maybe applying for more of a grant and just replace the whole bridge. The reason why we didn't do that is because it wasn't eligible. So I think that NDOT has given us the opportunity for a full replacement when the bridge didn't qualify for it. You know, this is kind of a little gray, but me and Nathan has actually dealt with the individual from NDOT, and that's how we've got the bridge over, I don't know if I should say it on record, but that's how we got the bridge over Old 50, just dealing with her. She funded it for us, that we're working on. But anyways, the replacement cost is what I did, is $4.1 million. So the 20% LPA match is $826,000. So that would be, the county would be $264,000 more. And I see we got a new lady recording for me, so I'm sure she's tickled right now with me. But I know the one in the middle is really happy right now. But so we don't have to give that answer, but just to let you guys know, if we go for the full replacement, it's another $264,000.
Yeah, and we can definitely talk about the details, but I don't have any desire to replace something that's still functioning.
Yeah.
So it's not dilapidated.
I haven't changed my, my grant application. You know, they haven't told me they're gonna award it one way or the other. I haven't changed it. So I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, we're just going by their specs.
Right.
And we could talk about it again sometime. I just thought I'd better bring that up to you.
Thank you.
And I had a couple meetings with Bob Gruey about some development on, there's a lot of interest on the 69 interchanges, so hopefully, you know, we can get something to work there. There's a lot of limitations that go along with them interests too. The last thing I'll leave you guys is we are getting a check, or we did get a check for $91,622. So we talked about the Kennelberg Road. We did Kennelberg Road Phase 4 and 5 and Phase 2, and there was a bridge over Flat Creek and a bridge over Prairie Creek that we did. And what happens is we pay our match money to NDOT. They give us a grant, we pay our match money, and then we do our construction and our construction inspection. And that's where we had Rex Roth doing a construction inspection for us during that. And he's there to ensure that things are being done right and not wasteful, and the tonnages and the amounts that are supposed to be used are used. So anyways, I did the closeout documents at the end of the year last year, because we finished Kennelberg Road, it was completed. I did the closed out documents, send them in, and we had like a $91,000 underrun on materials and stuff. So NDOT does their audits on it. They do 2 or 3 audits, and they seen that. So that's the money that they sent back to us, and it goes into cash. I think the general budget got like $20,000 of it, and then the rest of it went back to the highway department in cash. So that was a plus, and that, I guess that goes to show good construction inspection. So, and Rex is doing our bridge that we got a meeting today, so maybe he can save us some more money there. And I think that's all I've got. I got one more thing. It's kind of off the cuff thing.
Okay, quickly.
And it's just like Jason Oakes is here. He's my bridge guy.
Sure.
He's going to the bridge shop today, and some of the things or to the bridge meeting today with me, some of the things that don't get noticed is the behind the scenes things. When I go through all the logistics and the planning and everything to make things happen and say what we need to do or whatever, to go out and tell the guys what they're doing and get the guys in the right spot and make the things happen. He's kind of the guy behind the scenes. He's the guy out there dispatching the guys and the troops, and he's actually making the things happen that we plan and choose to happen, I guess. So just since he's here with me, he don't know it, but give him a little recognition for be my employee of the year.
Say with but no retirement notices. We've already had our quota for today. No, thank you. Thank you for all those folks who behind the scenes who get all this stuff done. So great job, Jason.
And that's all I've got.
All right, thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
For making it so short and succinct. Appreciate it. Next up, we got the RTC letter of support for the BEAD program. I saw Becky, or I saw the gentleman from RTC. Yes.
Thank you for having me. I'm Nate Willis, the CFO at RTC Communications. So we've got a letter of support. I think it's already been provided to you guys. Also, just a little bit housekeeping. There were some maps also shared, but I do want to ask you guys keep those confidential. It's a blind competitive bidding process, so we're going to participate in BEAD. So I don't want to tip our hat to any of our potential competitive applications. So with that, I'll have to be somewhat vague about our plans, but it's a 100-point scoring application. So as you guys know, BEAD is a federal funded program, part of the Infrastructure Development Act. It was $42.5 billion allocated to broadband deployment across the country. Indiana got almost $1 billion of that. We're going to be applying for millions of that over across Daviess County. And so it's a 100-point competitive application process. You get one shot, that's it. So 5 points of that are the portion of that is community support and letters of support from county governments. And BEAD actually laid out specific guidelines as to kind of what makes up those 5 points. So that's why the recommendation letter is a little bit lengthy. But we'd like to get all 5 points and be as competitive as possible. So with the deployment that we're looking at and the money that we're applying for, should get us up to about 93 or 94% of Daviess County covered with fiber to the prim. As you guys know, RTC's long-term plan is to cover 100% of Daviess County with fiber to the home, so this will help get us to that 93 or 4% range. As you guys know, we've had conversations before that this last 5–10%, you know, our return on investment keeps getting smaller and smaller, so it obviously gets a little more difficult as we go. Any of the grant dollars that we can get, especially at the federal level, are a big help to us. So, you know, if you guys would be willing to sign that letter of support, we'd surely appreciate it. So,
Sounds great. And then as far as the county commitment, it's just basically just our endorsement of approval. There's no
Yep.
financial commitment.
Not asking for any financial component at all. We do have the infrastructure development zone tax exemption in place. That we, you know, provide you guys updates on annually, but outside of that, we're not asking for anything from the county or local government.
Great. Commissioners, any questions?
No.
No, I really appreciate what you guys are doing for Daviess County. Thanks for working hard.
Yep, we appreciate the support and all the community support as well. Thank you.
If there's no other questions, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
A motion made by Commissioner Keith. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you,
Thank
gentlemen.
you.
Appreciate it.
Next up, we've got our DC EDC quarterly update from Mr. Curley. Morning, Bob.
Thank you.
All right, good morning, Bob Gruey, Director, Daviess County Economic Development Corporation. Did we put meetings on the agenda to come and share some insights? I want to start with for some of our new commissioners, you know, congratulations, welcome, and let you know that please call or stop by our office anytime. Here's something, need to know something, what have you, please don't hesitate. Love to have you come over, show you the shop, meet the staff, all that. So know that. In Indiana, typically all counties have economic development organizations. We're no exception there. We are a little unique when you hear about Daviess County Economic Development Corporation, Daviess County Economic Development Foundation. The foundation is a C3 charitable group that sort of projects and real estate based. Westgate, Commons, Shell Building. Corporation is sort of the day-to-day running of the organization, staff, and those sorts of things. So when you hear those two names, it's It's similar but the same. A little bit about some of the updates. One of the recent things that we've done with the county is take on as a contractor working for the Tourism Commission. So we had a staff member, Amber Warden, that did a lot of work in the creative space, downtown, sorts of things, and now she's been placed as the director for the tourism group and seems to be working out very well, so we look forward to that continued partnership. Westgate at Crane Technology Park, we think is going to be a focus this year. It's a providence that the county was able to control some of that land outside the fence, and now is beginning to see some of the investment. I know we had kind of a, Nathan, what would you call it, kind of more than a hiccup, but you know, kind of out of the blocks, we thought we were in gear and not so much. But you know, council provided a tax abatement to a group called Kratos that is going to put up a hypersonics related facility. I think the council's going to hear from another investment at their next meeting and ask for some consideration of some property tax incentives. I know the folks at Crane are very excited about being able to accommodate development outside the fence as their properties continue to kind of get pushed in, and if it doesn't have to be inside the fence, there's a nice option at the Westgate Tech Park. So Bryant Niehoff, who is quarterbacking Westgate, we work together quite a bit. We're going to try to find a collection of funding this year to invest in more due diligence on the property. They refer to this as shovel ready. Today, when developers call and say, hey, send me the phase 1 environmental or the preliminary engineering for utility extensions, they expect for those kind of things to be ready to go. It takes the uncertainty out of a business investment, and to compete for some of those investments, we feel like we really need to have all that in hand. It's sort of an expectation today. And for defense contractors, speed to market is essential. So to the extent that we can take delays out of their decision making by have some of this homework done, that's very beneficial. Our shell building, we've been fortunate this past year and coming into 2026, a number of inquiries that we've played out. We're still working on a project that we hope we can bring across the finish line. I-69, as Chris mentioned, we have had some inquiries at both 62 and 76, the Washington and the Odin Elnora exits. I think we're going to I think we're going to see some events come together. I know we've done some due diligence and some planning in years past when the highway was being finished. I think we'll revisit that in terms of what sort of development patterns we can expect and sort of what goes where, utility extensions and those sorts of things. I'll back up a minute and say that in economic development, there's a given acknowledgement that there's 3 ways you can create jobs and investment. You can recruit them to your town, you can grow them, businesses in your town, and you can retain and expand the businesses in your town. So probably should have led with that. I mean, those are sort of the 3 things we try to do. And we have fires going in all those camps. So we're responding to inquiries about people curious about setting up shop here. We're visiting with area companies regularly. Just say hello and make sure there's no troubles, no pain points, and if they are, how can we address them? And then the growing businesses, we try to stay aware of all the resources that are available to help businesses start and grow. So last week, I ran up to Ragglesville and met with an entrepreneur who has a great idea, put him in touch with the folks that we network with, and really helped him move quickly into the next phase of his business plan. So that's kind of a snapshot. I look forward to coming back, hopefully with deals, if you will, things that we can announce, and I'll be out at a groundbreaking. But please stop by the office when you find time.
Great. Commissioners, any questions?
No. Thanks for all you do.
You said Can you say the three things again one more
Yeah,
time?
yeah, yeah. So a lot of people think of economic development, business attraction. You're the guy, bringing these companies in.
All right.
2 is grow businesses, entrepreneurship, small business development. And then 3 is retention, expansion of your existing businesses.
Sure. Where does visitors then fit in any of those three?
Yeah, so the visitors, we're a contractor there. And this is probably another, I don't know what you call it, a corollary or a new dynamic in economic development. Quality of place, quality of life, all these things are factoring into business decisions. As much as it is the utility, the land, workforce, quality of life comes into that. So I think there's some synergies in that space. And so it's important. And I guess,
don't
I'm
deny
sorry,
that it's
TC,
important.
the visitors
Yeah.
kind of tourism vibe kind of helps set the stage, create initiatives, activities that carry into those quality of life spaces.
Great. All right. Thanks, Bob. And as we do more of these, we'll provide more feedback of what we want to hear updates on. And yeah, this is a great start, so really appreciate it. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Bob. Thanks.
Next up, got the West Boggs Lair Grant. Morning, Nathan. How are you?
All right, as Nathan introduced me, my name is Nathan Rim. I've been the superintendent of Daviess Martin County Parks Department for a little less than 2 years. So to give you guys some background, we control mostly West Boggs Park, but also Glendale Campground, and then some other various activities such as in Dawson Days and things like that in Martin County we help with too. Today I'm here to talk about the Lake and River Enhancement Grant, but I can also answer any questions you guys have. I wanted to go into a little bit of background on that. So West Boggs Park and Lake were built in 1972, but there's a couple basins, which I've got some pictures of here, that we're looking at getting dredged. So you can see they're highlighted in yellow and pink there. You can pass those out, and there's 8,400 acres that drain into that, which is kind of this area here, if you look at this map. So we got the 8,400 acres that drain West Boggs. A lot of that's primarily farmland. Primarily farmland. There are some residential areas and things like that too, but most of that silt is coming off that farmland and has filled in those basins completely. So those were constructed in the early 90s. They do a really good job of catching a lot of the pollution, which isn't necessarily chemicals, it's more agricultural pollution such as manure, really high nutrient content, so that causes algae to grow in our lake. Algae is off the charts. I'm more than happy to share as much information as you'd want on that. Our lake is completely off the charts, like 13 to 16 times higher than it should be in phosphorus, and it's really difficult to get the algae not to grow. A lot of those basins being full is contributing to that, so it doesn't catch any of those nutrients that normally would settle out in that pool, and then the clean water would go into West Boggs. So we need to kind of do a three-tiered approach. We're working with the watershed residents, and they're doing a great job of covering manure piles, grassing ditches, moving cattle away, all of that kind of stuff. The Amish in particular have wrote hundreds of letters to their fellow community members, done a really good job there. But we really need these basins dredged out and doing lake treatments. A lot of this is really expensive. We're talking more than $15 million probably for both of these. So we've talked about a conservancy district for the long-term approach for this. But in the meantime, I would love to get this layer grant going, and this will mostly be for engineering. So we paired with Banning Engineering and TAF Law. Got all their fees and everything, and I put that in the grant. This will be up to 200 hours of engineering work from Banning, and then in addition to that, we'll do some actual dredging work. And how that would go, you've got Mark Wickman's property is very near that south basin. I'm only applying for the south basin now because it's way too expensive to do both. The grant peak or matching funds that they will do is up to $100,000. I can't ask for any more than that per application, so I'm just asking for that. And then it's a match for the park, so it would be $25,000 out of our lake enhancement fund. We have about $145,000 in there, so not a big issue for us to contribute that. And then they would give us up to $100,000. So what this would do is get us started. That'll help with all the engineering planning, and we can get started on just the very front. So basically right before it goes into the lake, we can get that accomplished. And then what we would do is then use hydraulic or mechanical dredging, and this would go into Mark Wickman's property, which is just adjacent to that south basin. So this would actually be a pretty easy easy one. The other one will be much harder because it's right there. So I'm assuming that what we would do is take a pump, you kind of mix up that silt, and then pump it through a pump up to his land and either do a dewatering pool, or you can do sediment bags, which is like a great big long bag with like a screen. Pumps all that in there, the water drains out, and then the sediment stays. So as I said, this is farm runoff, so it's like tremendous fertilizer. I've got all those tests done twice now. There's no contaminants or anything, so there's no environmental issue or anything like that. I don't know that Mark knows that this might smell pretty bad, but it'll be really good for his farm. So we may need to work out something in the future of, you know, him not having a crop that year or something like that, but he's offered to let us dump it there for free. So I'm hoping to get that grant done, you know, for that purpose. I do have a picture of the basin. This is supposed to be a giant lake. This actually has more water in it than usual. It's where you could like drive across. So it certainly needs done, but there's not a lot of perpetual funding for it. And kind of long-term plan, I'd love to put a boardwalk trail out there. I think that would be awesome. We could have like a nice wetland trail area, and then that would likely be free use. And that would be kind of the long-term approach. Then we have kind of an area that people don't have to come in the main gate and utilize resources. So this grant should be, they should let me know by June at the very latest on this one.
So the 125,000, will it get that South Basin dredged or partially?
Not even close. We're talking 8-9 million, I would assume, for just that. But what it would do, Nathan, is kind of get there's a wall. So if the lake's right here, there's a wall.
Yeah.
We could dredge right in front of that wall.
Yeah.
So it'll get all the engineering done for everything. So we could have the whole project planned, and then we could start on that right in front of that wall. And we used a pretty innovative enzyme treatment in the other basin this past year. It was amazing. I can show you all the numbers, but we had like 1 million cell counts in the lake by fall and 0 in that basin. And normally it's completely flip-flopped. It works really well. That stuff kind of eats the same nutrients as the algae. So then we could treat that front area, and then we should have at least some clean water coming in the lake, and then we could use the Conservancy funds later on to hopefully finish the project if that goes through. And I think that if we got this going, you know, with layer support, you know, kind of have it all mapped out, I think that will help with the boat as well, because folks are going to see that, hey, they're, you know, they're doing a physical project out there. And
So out of the 125,000, 38,000 is for engineering, 87,000 is for dredging. I just wanted to make sure we weren't spending 100 grand for an engineering report that's going to sit there for 10 years before we.
I hope it doesn't. I hope we get going on that soon.
Well, it's only 38,000 for the engineering report, so I'm more palatable with a $38,000 report sitting than a $125,000 report. So the fact that of $87,000 worth of dredging occurring, at least, you know, we get something material out of it. So, you know.
You've presented at different times in the past about the water quality issue, so it's probably new for some of the commissioners, but it has been talked about at length. Over the past couple of years, how have you seen an improvement in moving that date back where there could potentially be an issue and you have to close the
We have. I think a lot of it is kind of in God's hands in a lot of ways. You know, the weather is super dependent on this. If we get a lot of rains in the spring, it's going to wash all that in. If we get a lot of rains in the winter, it washes all the sediment in, and then that would facilitate growth in the spring. But the enzyme treatment worked really well. I actually spent no money on this last year, which was pretty cool. I worked out a deal with this enzyme company that I gave them like an 80-page study that I wrote for them for really good advertisement for them. And it kind of proved that it worked in those areas. But honestly, Grant, I think it wasn't just that. You know, there was a lot of people in the watershed did a good job last year. That helped. We had good weather, and then also that, you know, algae treatment that we did. So we had completely clean water coming in from that yellow one, which was wild because I've got some videos, like I kayaked in there and it literally made me sick. It's like this thick of algae the year prior. And then last year we had nothing. So it's getting better, but I don't think, I mean, the way the scientists are talking and what I've seen, it's not going to just fix itself. I mean, this has been going on for decades. It's now getting to the tipping point where it's been closed as early July, and then we just don't get any use of the lake. So normally we have 200,000 people that come to West Boggs. That contributes a couple million to the local economy. When the lake's closed, you can just see the numbers just drop. So we lose camping, we lose, all kinds of recreation, fishing,
Okay.
boating revenue, all that.
Well, I think we're probably pretty good on this layer grant. There's any questions, we definitely don't want to hold you up. So,
Nope.
Yeah.
and 25,000 is going to come out of the Lake Enhancement Fund, 100 from layer. So, are there
Likewise with
any-
Bob, I'd love to invite you guys out to West Bugs too, show you all the projects that we're doing, the updates that need done, things like that. There is something else I should probably mention. We just got support.
1 second. Can we finish this layer grant?
Of course, yeah.
Any other discussion on the layer grant? Okay. If there's no other discussion, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Keith. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
And motion passes 3-0. Sorry, Nathan, go ahead.
Oh, you're fine, sorry about that. We did just get our tornado siren put up, so that was just a couple days ago. We got that funded almost entirely by Martin County Community Foundation, so they've been really supportive of West Boggs. After the really bad storm last year, kind of really felt the need for that. And it was over $10,000, so we're trying to kind of watch what we're spending at the park. With camping kind of turning down a little bit after COVID, they were really gracious and funded that grant for us. We just got that put up. So now what I'd like to do is fund another grant through them. I already got it approved for the park boards several months ago. Found a really good deal to redo the beach house roof. The beach house roof has been leaking for about 10 years. So we have a lot of structures at West Boggs that were built in '72, and they're kind of at their lifespan. That's several bathrooms. The beach house has been leaking for a decade. It was pretty well destroyed when I was started. We've got it cleaned up inside. I think the bones are good. It's too expensive, I think, to get a new one. I think we can really, put a nice new roof on that. So what we're hoping to do, that's kind of stressing our budget, we want to get a roof on that. So we found a church group, actually, that will do that for $46,450. I can provide the other quotes later. It's much, much cheaper than, anyone else, really. So that'll help at least keep the building from rotting while we get it fixed up. Then we'll do vending out of there, do the kayak rentals, all that kind of stuff, and really get that going again. Really good asset for the community there, right at the beach, and it's just been sitting empty, and it's kind of an eyesore. So we're looking to get a new roof on there, so I think I'll be back at your next one, but I need to go ahead and apply for that. I could not do so until that got put up, and we just got that pole put in. So just wanted to make you aware of that. Do you guys have any additional questions about the lake or the park
Commissioners,
itself,
any
anything like
questions?
that?
No. I hope get that basin going, because I know that's a huge, just a filter into the lake. So, that would be
Yeah,
great.
It would be great.
Great.
Yeah, the whole thing's a large project, but I think we can piecemeal it. As long as we work back from the lake itself, we can do the treatments, and then I really think that little area will help clean the water as it goes over that wall. So,
Keep up the great work, Nathan.
Thank you.
Doing great.
Guys.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Next up, we got the Tri-State Systems bid.
Good job.
So this is, I received a call yesterday yesterday afternoon from the architect. So, and Lauren, they may have called you as well, I'm not sure. So
No.
we got considered two different things. Yeah, it was late yesterday afternoon. So there was a concern with the system. The system opens and expands.
Correct.
And the weight capacity of the floor it's going to be sitting on. Whenever the initial drawings, it just had basically the polymetric or whatever they call it, shelving, that all the stuff just sits spread out. This system, everything folds to one end or the other, so all that weight sits on a small footprint. So now their concern was the engineering of a floor system, which was never evaluated just because we thought we were going to have regular shelving. So any decision on this will be contingent upon the engineering, because it could be, they don't know what yet. They have to reinforce the floor, obviously. That's not, it's not good, right? So I know we got to speed up on this, but this will be contingent on the engineering report
Okay.
coming back. So that was just hot off the press. So.
Okay. I didn't know any of that. So a couple of really
It
quick
was
things, and then I'll go on.
It was late late yesterday afternoon that
Okay.
they called me, so
Okay,
that's why.
okay. Whenever, I've never designed anything like this before, so my understanding when I sat down with them and said, I want this here, I want that there, that it was all in the bids. I didn't realize this was gonna be a separate thing that I had to work on myself. I thought it was in the bids and it was done. So when we went in there a couple weeks ago to get the measurements to try to decide how we're gonna do the shelving, that's when I realized I'm not gonna have as much storage space as I thought I was gonna have, because there's a closet in the election room that I thought was gonna be for us to store office supplies, and I found out, no, it's gonna have pipes and wires and stuff, so I lost some storage. So that's kind of why we switched to this.
Sure.
And then also, this is kind of more council if we get to that point, but I also added on here that last year, just in interest, we got $37,000 from the clerk's office that went directly to a general fund that we don't touch, which would by far pay for this, so
Sure.
that helps.
Well, awesome. So I think that the discussion today is, one, we got to discuss about fixing the overall storage issue for the clerk's office and make it work with the existing structure. So I guess that will be the overall motion that I'll be entertaining today, is to move forward with this price range with a product that will work on that existing floor system ideally, because if they have to go in and reinforce the floor, obviously that's extremely expensive.
Sure.
And then we'll have to come back and say, okay, what can you settle for? But I don't want to have those questions yet when we don't know. So,
Okay.
So anyway, and I'm not trying to rush this. We're supposed to be in Vincent's at 10, but if we don't make it, that'll be it. So I don't want to rush this through, but are there any questions or discussions?
No.
All right, yeah, we only gotta do what the engineers, right, can say that it can hold, so
Yeah.
kinda stuck on that one, yeah.
So I'll entertain a motion to go ahead and approve the acquisition of a shelving system for the clerk's office for storage that's conducive to the courthouse. Okay.
So moved.
A motion made by Commissioner Cook. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Keith. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 3-0. So this allows us to work with the engineers, wrap up the solution. They're looking at it probably right now. So, yeah, it'll be quick. Thank you, Lauren. Okay, next up, we've got the airport courtesy vehicle. Erica, good morning. So, yeah, tell us about the courtesy vehicle. What is it? Who uses it?
Erica Burkenberg, the Daviess County Airport Manager. The courtesy car is something that was already there when I started, and it's also an amenity that the airports offer to the pilots who come in, especially those with charter who fly people in for visiting the area or meetings or whatever. It just lets them go into town, get something to eat, whatever. When I started, we currently have a 2003 Chevy Impala. It runs, but that's about all I can say about it. So the board, we decided to look for an upgrade at $6,000 or lower. I did find one, and we purchased it. Now we just need to, we want to get it titled and put municipal plates on it. Been working with Jen to try to figure out the best way to do that, and I think based on a new code, right, an FC code, it needs to be the counties.
Right.
So that's why I came here today to ask for your blessing to do that and get it titled the proper way. That way everybody's.
Sure. So what did you purchase?
We purchased a 2014 GMC Acadia
Okay.
with 180,000 miles, and one thing that we really wanted was a third row seating.
Sure.
Because that way they can haul 5 to 7 people in this.
Sure, and how much was it?
6,000 out the door.
And then that came out of the airport operating budget?
No expense to the county. So,
And she is adding a second courtesy out there, so the Impala is still going to remain.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing is just knowing that this is going to be another addition, a vehicle to the county's cost.
Another cost for, and the
Correct.
insurance?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you need to?
at times, yes. The car is not, you can't lock the door. You can't roll down the window.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because
Yeah.
our PNC insurance, we pay a couple $100,000 a year, and every vehicle we add to it, it gets.
Sure,
up, so-
sure. I mean, if you want us to take the car out, we can. I would say the car's
If you
valued
were
at-
spending your own money, would you have two out there? I mean, like your money?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there would be times, if GPC comes in, they'll take one, and then I had somebody show up and they want to go out to eat.
Okay,
During special events and stuff, people fly through. it can be in high demand. It might not happen, but
Okay.
sure enough, it will if I don't have it. And we've ran into that before, where I've needed more than one courtesy car.
And has it caused any problems?
Not really. People are understanding. They just wait, but
The thing about government is we swell very slowly. I mean, almost unknown, by the ounce.
Yeah.
And then we look and we're like, oh my gosh, now we got 58 cars.
sure.
I would highly encourage you to get rid of one. I'm not
Okay.
convinced that you need two of them.
Okay. And that's, if you
But
want
I
to
could be talked into it, but I'm not convinced yet
Yeah.
that there needs to be two out there.
do you want us to sell the Impala? It's, like I said, we're,
Just, you do whatever you need to do with it,
Okay.
and as long as it comes, assuming that you're not gonna need it consistently, I'd rather it come off.
how about
our-
I give it a year and we see how it goes and we can reassess?
Okay, how about 6 months? Let's come back in July, see how much you've used it, because a year, we're not
How
even.
about August?
We're not
Because that'll
even-
get us through Oshkosh.
Okay, August is fine.
Sounds good.
In a year, we won't ever remember this
Sure.
conversation, so.
Erica, we can also have Tricia give us the numbers on how much the new one's gonna increase.
Yeah.
And based off how much the old one is, and we can
Yeah.
get those numbers for you.
Okay.
That'd be great.
It's just that the less stuff we have that we don't
Sure.
need, the better, right?
Sure.
Okay,
Yep.
sorry about that. So the
No.
Acadia, and then going forward, obviously, just come to the commissioners
Okay.
first before you get it, and so we can participate, so. Entertain a motion to get the 2014 Acadia license under the county for the airport.
So moved.
A motion made by Commissioner Keith. Do we have a second?
Second?
Second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
A motion passes 3-0.
Perfect.
Thanks, Erica.
Thank you, guys. Again, I'll reiterate what Wes Boggs and Bob said. Come out anytime.
That was great.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we got the Sheriff's Department. Morning, Gary.
The Setoxo, that's a grant that we've applied for, Setox, through the state of Indiana, the Criminal Justice Institute. That is an instrument that we can use on the roadside to detect narcotics and driving, drug driving. So the state's starting to hand those out to counties to get to you. No cost to the county at all. Just applied for the grant, and I'm telling you that we applied for it. On
Okay,
that one.
Sounds great.
Voter safety, we'll apply for that again this year. That's where we patrol bogs with our people. It's $10,000 what we asked for. I think last year we got 7,500, but usually it's about 10,000. So, letting you know we're applying for that.
And then when you apply for this, who actually is doing the application in your department?
For the Sudoxo one, it was Jonathan Wells. He had gotten one for the Martin County Sheriff's Office while he was
Okay.
over there. And for the voter safety grant, that would be Steve Sturgis.
Okay, so see, again, my memory is getting not as good as it used to be. It seems like Paul Goss used to do a lot of these applications for,
Not for us,
okay,
maybe for his side, but
okay.
not for the sheriff's office. I mean, maybe if.
No worries, I just want to make sure you guys weren't doing the work that we could have someone else be helping you out with, so,
No,
okay.
not for those.
Great. Good. Commissioners, any questions on either of these grants?
No,
Great.
no, they,
Not, I'd entertain a motion to approve both.
so moved.
A motion made by Commissioner Keith, do we have a second?
Second?
Second by Commissioner Cook, all in favor? Aye. Thanks, go ahead.
Year-end report, for 2024, we received 7,363 CAD calls. Our transports were up. A lot of that has to do with Benson's closing down the juvenile facility. And we've had an uptick in juvenile crime here recently. I don't know why that's that. I got my personal theories, but so we're having to take those to Dearborn County, to Johnson County, all over the state. You take them over, and within 24 hours, you got to bring them back, and then you got to take them back. And then I added in our special service transports.
On that, are we not using the video and, whatever?
Those are in circuit court.
Oh, we're not gonna give them a Superior? Or can we,
You can't put juvenile Superior doesn't have jurisdiction over juveniles.
We can't do the tele interrogation?
They are some, yeah. Superior will.
Okay. So on these ones that we're transporting, can any of those be over the TV?
That's a question for Judge Smith.
But legally, they could be?
I don't know, I just,
As far as you're concerned, they could be?
I would rather, yeah,
Okay.
but,
Because we're picking up these, we've had judges in the past, and I'm certainly not getting in that lane, but who wanted to meet these folks face to face in order to do their process, and I'm not against that.
I think Greg has done some adult criminal by video.
Okay,
Judge Murray has, but a lot of the special judges don't.
okay.
So
Because it's quicker and less costly.
it's costly, and it's a lot safer.
And safer. So that's my point, is obviously it's not really our lane, but it's, sorry. But there's just questions that we need to be asking to see, is there a quicker,
I
smarter?
get an order from a judge to go transport people. I can't
Yeah.
change those. I did add into there, like, the road crew, did add some of their we wasn't recording that for some reason, so that would show a little bit of an uptick in the mileage. And they travel, the women are about at the animal shelter about every day. And then the men are somewhere, I think today they're in Odin doing some special details up there for the town. We investigated 485 crashes. We had 7 fatalities in Daviess County last year. The miscellaneous reports, 716 warrants were processed through dispatch. We cleared 469 of those. And we'll get to the jail report. We can hold up to 265. Our bookends are down, 903. The year before, we were up to 1,200. And some of those may result, because we are doing the video, because every time someone comes in for court, they get counted as a booking, so. The average daily population is 151. This morning, we had 175. There's your age group, marital status, felony arrest, misdemeanor bookings. We had no fatalities at the security center. We had no escapes. We served 190,460 meals. And we currently have 31 inmates in the community corrections work release pod. We have a lot of programming available to the inmates with the IRAX program and our RARE program. It seems to be well received with the population. I mean, you're always going to have some horses that won't drink the water, but more are partaking of these services. Visitation, we had 21,131 visits. Like I said, the road crew does several different projects throughout the year, Oak Grove Cemetery being one of the major ones that we do. The mail road crew worked 1,207 hours in 2024, and the female 1,169. Inmate hearings, we had 450 disciplinary hearings. We are fully staffed now in the jail and the deputies. First time that's happened in forever. HVAC, that's about it.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions?
No. Yep, you guys, thanks for everything you do.
Yeah, appreciate it.
I like the report. I like having those numbers.
Yep.
Good.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Gary.
Yep.
You did.
So noted.
All right, next up, we got the BIS digital contract.
And that specifically is to the speakers and the mics that we use for our off-site recordings for the commissioners' meetings. So the system that we currently have, those mics at our last thing. The wires are dry rotted. They are, I don't even know when they were purchased, but they are falling apart. The highway department tried to do some soldering and trying to fix some of the wires, but it's very hard to hear. So I'd just like to get these replaced.
So these are for the offsite meetings, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, we started the offsite meetings, the commissioner meeting times have fluctuated over before I got elected, it was like 6 p.m. at night, and then it was 8 a.m. Monday, so it's moved around. The theory is that, okay, we're no longer accessible to the voter, so instead of going to 6 p.m. across the board, because they moved it, because obviously people just weren't showing up, then we do these twice a year on the road ones, so assuming you two want to continue the on the road ones, then we have to record them.
I think.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, it's,
Okay.
kind of get out in the community in the afternoons, and people that do work during the day, they can get there.
Okay, we'll keep that going then. If there's no other discussion, we'll entertain the motion to pay the $406.48.
So moved.
A motion made by Commissioner Cook. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Keith. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
A motion passes 3-0. All right. Yeah, please.
On this First Amendment to the ambulance contract, so there really should only be two things that are changing. I think I accidentally sent out the full contract, which we don't need a brand-new full contract. But the proposal, and Nathan knows quite a bit more about this than myself, is to increase the amount that they're paid for this service, and then also it's going to be specifically for full-time ambulances.
So Keith Miller and I started working on this probably about 6 years ago. And again, a lot of data. We'll keep it in a nutshell. With our previous ambulance provider, obviously we had to make some different changes. And then ultimately they kind of sold out anyway. So the executive branch is statutorily required to provide EMS services to the county. It's completely on us to provide that. So we had been using Southwest, and we bid it out. We had a couple of proposals to come in, and it was pretty clear that they were going to have a financial model that they thought was going to sustain it. And then that's when I inserted that buy down in there, that 10% of their profit comes off our fee down to a minimum of $100,000, and we all win. Then we go live. And we, over the past couple of years, we've seen some of the financial performance of the EMS services, the reimbursements, a few different reasons. Operationally, we transitioned through a couple of different directors. I've been approached probably the past 2 years about increasing it, and I've been a hard no on increasing it until we get some of the operational efficiencies and management in play to see how well can it actually perform financially. So that's what we have done. Now, with that being said, it is our responsibility to provide it. If the current provider walks away, we now inherit a $1.5 million operating system and have to build out a county-owned department, which none of us wanted to do. So, Tony Dungeon and I served on the board, so we just had some general agreements with them that a $200,000 increase. I think some of the council members were approached. $200,000 increase would be palatable. So we weren't able to get it done last year. Some commissioners attend the meetings, some don't, so it's just hard to keep everyone on the same page. I think I filled you guys in a little bit as we were going through some of this stuff. So what we're looking at doing now, the mounted trucks, we do have currently 4 full-time ambulance vehicles is in our current contract. You'll never get a full consensus. In my opinion, that's just a little too many, because with a county our size, having 4 is just a little too much. Problem is, we can't back it down because with the 24-hour shifts, there's not a way to shift it to have like 3.75 or whatever, or at least that's what I'm hearing. So we're gonna keep it at 4. It's all based off our response times. I think the Indiana standard is 17 minutes-ish, and we're well below that, and we have all the data for once. For this, we were kind of flying. So we got a $200,000 increase that the commissioners have been asked to approve. It is our decision, so obviously we can do whatever we want to do.
Me personally, I would just ask if we could table it for like, not the next meeting, but the meeting after. Just because I'm coming on fresh, right? I've tried to catch up, and there's a lot of stuff going on with the hospital, right, to catch up with. Just to see numbers and to see that. I'm not a no, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying I would like to have just a little more time. And then obviously, I think if we voted in it, it's retrofitted to January 1, right? So I get that, but.
I know it's been
Yeah.
talked about, I've been around, you know, coming to the meetings for a couple of years, and we kind of know this was coming. And then the other counties, we're well below what the other counties pay, is that correct?
Yeah, and I've always, we are, and when I've been approached with that, I always say, look, if they jump off of a bridge, or, you know, or would we? But with that being said, we gotta be realistic. So,
Yeah.
1.25 to $2 million is what a county typically does. Their instinct is typically to put a tax in place on income, which I've always been opposed to.
Sure.
But that's the easy fix, is just tax the people, and then that funds it. Ultimately, that might be the only option we have as this goes up, but we're trying to prevent that as long as we can, so.
So there's really two options. Pay it, or we end up with the ambulance service,
Yeah.
correct?
Well, I think there's a third, right? We can still bid it. You can still have a contractor
What-
come in.
If you can bid it and find someone to
Right.
bid on it,
But
right?
that is a third option.
Theoretically, the reality is there is no one else out there to bid on it unless you know someone that we don't. Because we barely got 2 bids last time,
Right.
and the other company's no longer in service, so.
Is waiting a little bit, what kind of time frame?
I don't think it's waiting. Their pushback's probably gonna be, you guys have been elected since May, and now but.
But we weren't elected since May, right? Like, you know what I mean?
In Daviess County, you were. So,
I understand, but we weren't, yeah.
But theoretically, you were, and you were aware of this situation, so now it's wanting to delay it. I don't have any problem with that, but I don't have any problem with delaying it until the first week in February. Give you or last week in February.
Correct.
To backdate it to January 1st, but just make sure you get all your questions answered, because the longer we wait, this number may go up.
Sure,
So,
and that makes sense also.
Well, I would say too, the term does, I mean, it automatically renews. We've got an active, the current
Correct.
contract is active.
Correct. They're not getting paid anything.
They're asking for an increase.
Right.
so as long as logistically it's not, you'll be able to go in and backdate it if we decide to do that. And they can,
I mean,
If
we would have to clarify that if we need to pay that amount from January 1st going forward, you all would need to clarify and approve that.
I tell you what, just for simplicity, and again, I appreciate Commissioner Cook's questions, but the complexity of having to go back and backfill it and just being involved with this, I would like to go ahead and entertain a motion to approve this today. And then if there's any questions that come up that make you want to change your vote, well, you're all on the DCH board, and we can have those discussions.
I think it's
then.
harder to go back than it is to go up.
So, yeah, and going back is not going to be an option, so I guess
That makes my point. If going back's not an option, then.
do you want
then-
795 or do you want 1.5?
I understand.
Yeah.
I'm just asking for a couple more weeks, right?
Just logistically having to go back and reimburse them for something that I think we're gonna have to make.
We're gonna have to do that right now. It's January 28th, right?
Well, the payment hasn't gone out for January, so we can go ahead and adjust it. So I would go ahead and entertain a motion to approve the EMS contract.
And nothing against you, Tracy, but I think we're stuck with it anyway, so moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Keith. Do we have a second? I will second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 2-1. All right, next up, we've got the handbook committee. Jen, you want to update the commissioners on that?
Yes, so in regards to updating the handbook, I have talked with Nathan and trying to put together a committee that can try to come up with some recommendations and then come before the commissioners and council for approval for the finals of that. We have come up with 7 people that would form this committee, and that being both judges, both of the presidents of the commissioner and council, myself, the assessor, and the sheriff. And within that, we would like to officially form that and try to get some stuff put together and present that at a later date.
Any questions? Commissioners?
No, it needs to be done.
Excellent. And then the participants, you've already,
I have spoken to everybody, and they are all on board with
Good job.
that. Yep,
Okay.
and I just wanted to get through this, and I've got the rough draft of the updated legal stuff of the handbook back from Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy, so now I can officially, after today, then I can get that out to everybody, and we can get some dates put together.
all right, sounds good. Do we need a resolution to move forward, or a motion to move forward? I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to approve the handbook committee to provide recommendations back to us.
So moved.
A motion made by Commissioner Cook. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Keith. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
A motion passes 3-0. Excellent. Anything else? Anything from the audience? Seeing commissioners, anything?
No.
I would entertain a motion to approve payroll claims and to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
A motion made by Commissioner Keith. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner